Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your 2017 National Conference co-chair, Viv Grossman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Quite a day, isn't it? All the love, gotta love it. I want to welcome you to an important program this afternoon at which we're honoring some very special people. Mort and Toby Mower have generously given of themselves, their time and financial resources, and I just want to say truly, this honor is so well deserved. I also want to thank Hightower HSW Advisors for their generous sponsorship for this afternoon's plenary. Remember to capture the great moments ahead and to share with your friends back home and around the world. Please use the hashtag JNFNC17 and tag JNFUSA on Twitter and Instagram, and tag JNF Jewish National Fund -JNF on Facebook. Now, please welcome to the stage our good friend, the Consul General of Israel in Miami, Lior Hyatt.
I look better in the photo than in real life. Shalom, JNF. Wow, that was good. Actually, before I start, one of the things of being the speaker in the last day that the ambassador stole half my speech. Well, we talk about the same thing more or less, so I'll try to give you another perspective of what we do here in our consulate. They say my name is Lior Hyatt. I'm the Consul General of Israel to Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Puerto Rico. I consider myself to be the luckiest Israeli diplomat alive for the opportunity to represent the state of Israel in this place. Probably the best place in the world, except Israel, obviously, to be an Israeli diplomat in. This place combines a very strong and big, most important Zionist Jewish community, a very active Israeli community, an Hispanic community or Latino community, and so many other communities that one thing that they have in common is their desire to make Israel part of their day-to-day life. In the year and a half since I arrived in Florida, I participated in more events celebrating Israel than my entire life before that. I saw people celebrating this miracle called the State of Israel, even if they never been to Israel. I've learned that the State of Israel is relevant not only to us, the Israelis, and not only to the Jewish communities, but many others pray for Israel on a day-to-day basis. I've learned about the amazing importance of this connection between the United States and Israel. It's way beyond the political cooperation between one administration and its president and the government of Israel and its prime minister. What holds this connection, this alliance together are the common values that we keep talking about. What are those common values? Freedom, sure. Democracy, without a doubt. But I think it's even more than that. We share a common point of view about what's going on in the world. I also learned that this alliance is a basic pillar of the national security of the State of Israel. As Israeli diplomats, our goal is to strengthen this basis of this bridge that connects Israel and the United States. And one of the ways to do that is to show the American people that it's not a one-way street. Israel gains a lot from the friendship with the US, but I think that the US gains a lot from the friendship with Israel as well. Over the last few months, Israel participated in the hurricane relief efforts in Houston, in Miami, and especially in Puerto Rico. Just a few weeks ago, I flew to Puerto Rico in a plane filled with humanitarian aid and water, which was a donation from the State of Israel and a few special people from the South Floridian Jewish community. Last week, I visited Israel with the mayor of the Miami-Dade County, Carlos Jimenez, and we built together the basis to bring Israeli technologies to South Florida. This visit was part of the celebration of the inaugural flight of El Al directly from Miami to Tel Aviv. A very important bridge that connects our two states together. Another basic pillar in the connection and alliance between the United States and Israel is the Jewish community, the American Jewish community. The support of the American Jewish community in Israel is a vital part of our national security. And you are here all the time to remind the American people about the common values I mentioned before. Sometimes we have different points of view. Some communities see the reality in a different way than the State of Israel does. But Israel will continue to be home for each and every one of you. Even if we have a disagreement, we'll find a way to resolve it. Our role as diplomats, Israeli diplomats in the USA, is double. First part is obvious. We are here to tell the American people and also the Jewish community what's the Israeli message, what's the Israeli point of view. But with that comes another responsibility. We are here, and I speak in the name of all my colleagues, Israeli diplomats in the US. We are here, just like JNF, to be your voice in Israel. Because what you do here is important to us as much as it's important to you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Toda rabah.
Council General, my name is Scott Schreiber. I'm proud to serve the Jewish National Fund as its Vice President of Missions. I'm a member of the President's Society and the Century Council, and I'd like to thank you for being a part of the JNF conference this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
As a token of our appreciation, we'd like to give you the certificate for all you do for the State of Israel and for the Jewish National Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And now I'd like to introduce a man who really needs no introduction whatsoever. He is the greatest, the best Jewish philanthropist around. He is, let me say it differently, he's the hardest working man in Jewish philanthropy. He is our leader, our mentor, our dear friend, and our CEO, Russell Robinson.
Thank you, Scott. Before I go further, I want to take just this opportunity, so Yael will have to apologize for me going off by 38 seconds. But I want, all of this doesn't happen because of me, nothing does. It happens because of a great professional staff, and if I could have my professional staff stand up and be recognized. I'll do some individual pieces later tonight, but you should know that everything that we're doing here, I understand, Miriam, 100,000? More than 100,000 people have watched Facebook Live. So, how do you explain how things happen without a plan? Or how do you explain when others are able to achieve the unachievable? Why is Apple Computer so innovative year after year, and yet they're a computer company just like anyone else, but they have seemed to do something different? Why did Martin Luther King lead the civil rights movement? Were there not other people who suffered, who could have stood up and led the way? Yet he did. Why did an old man named David Ben-Gurion become the first prime minister of Israel and proclaim the state of Israel for the Jewish people after 2,000 years? Because he was possessed with that something special. So the couple that we are honoring today, Doctors Toby and Mort Mower, they have that something different. They lead. They possess that special element. They achieve the unachievable. Toby and Mort have changed the world, and they continue to do so every day. They have taken the element which is impossible, and when nobody else wants to stand up and take it on, they shout, "Count on us." Mort has changed the world in so many ways. He is globally recognized. His name has been inscribed in medical journals. And in 2002, Mort was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame for his invention of the AICD. Now, I had to find out what is an AICD. So I asked someone who has one. Vice President Dick Cheney was implanted with the automatic implantable cardioverter defibrillator invented by Mort Mower. Now, why was Mort inducted? What power did Mort have? Mort Mower had the power of an idea that he followed, he fought for, he developed, he brought to fruition. He and Toby have done that throughout their lives. They take their wisdom, money, and time and make an impact all around them. Not just by talking, but by implementing. That is Dr. Toby and Mort Mower. It is in the power of an idea and the act of leading. Now, Mort was born on January 31st, 1933, and grew up in a house in which his father was a repairman and his mother raised 3 children during the summers. While in grade school, Mort worked at his uncle's toy store in Atlantic City. As a young teen, he became a salesman in his uncle's store. When Mort was 15 years old, his uncle fell ill. And the family found a physician, made frequent calls, and Mort was inspired by his outstanding quality of care. And as a result, he applied to Johns Hopkins University. And at that very moment, he said, if he can do it, I can do it. He wanted to save the world, and he has, with over 36 patents to date. Mort always says you have to investigate and invent something, or you just can't sit around and do nothing. Today, there's a medical building in Baltimore that bears his name. Toby was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and she became a registered nurse and has a master's in clinical psychology. She is known for her unique sense of faith and commitment to humanity and is a world-renowned philanthropist. Toby was always an active Jew. She always cared about our people. She always cared about her patients. And in 2012, she founded the Toby Mower Chair in Addiction Prevention and Treatment at Ben-Gurion University. In Toby's words, addiction is a disease that can kill, or it will not kill with the correct treatment. Toby loves young people, and she understands that our future is in JNF Future. She laid out a challenge over 5 years ago when she walked into a meeting at a national conference just like this at a JNF meeting, JNF Future meeting. And she said to these young people, you want to be the best and the brightest? You want to lead for Israel? You want to be a great leader? She said, I'll tell you what, start a leadership institute and I'll match what you raise. And over 5 years later, over 100 young people have graduated JNF Future Leadership Institute mission, and many are here today. And just this week, Toby Mower donated to have a community center in the community of Zukim, Israel. After her, thank you, Toby. Mort continues thinking beyond the possible. He writes us memos and he presents us ideas at the Jewish National Fund Board of Directors meetings, and he challenges us every day to think beyond boundaries, to look beyond just what is possible. Toby and Mort are blessed with a son and daughter, and together have always been active members of the Jewish community. Toby and Mort became one of our first members of our World Chairman Council, our $1 million and over donors. Toby was one of the leaders who established our Sapphire Society, our women's major gift society. Mort has led our water task force and was instrumental in helping to end the catastrophe that was facing Israel for water. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot be more honored than to welcome up for the Gould Legacy Society Jewish National Fund CEO Heritage Award, proudly presented to Drs. Toby and Mort Mower. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Why JNF? Where is Jerry Schatz? Is she here? Who? Jerry Schatz. Jerry Schatz. There's Jerry. Where's Harold Cohn? Is Harold still here? All the way back there. Where's Russell Robinson? I have to tell you what a family this group is. Many of you know I've been sick. Jerry Schatz starts sending me Shabbat letters. Good Shabbos. I hope you're doing well. Harold Cohn called me many times. Russell, of course, called me. That's family. They keep in touch. They keep coming back and they keep calling. Where are my children? My JNF futures. Thank you, love you too. My daughter, Robin. My son and daughter-in-law, David and Beverly. And if it weren't for you all, I don't know where I'd be today, honest to goodness. The important thing is that I'm here, you're here, and we keep needing you. The Jewish futures are indeed our futures. You are going to be our future leaders. And for whatever reason, all these other organizations, young people aren't invited or whatever they choose not to do, we invited you. Russell listened to me once, he had no choice. And it was done. Now you all are doing it. I am so proud of you young people. I really, really am. And the Sapphire Society, where's Terry? Terry Katz? All the way over there. Terry was one of the founders of the Sapphire Society, which later became WFI, Women for Israel. Diane Scar, where are you? Diane pushed and pushed to get us involved when we lived in Baltimore. She was obnoxious sometimes, but she kept pushing. I'm only kidding. I love you, Diane. So we went from Baltimore to Denver, where we didn't know anybody. But we were put on the local board the year before we moved here. Now that is something. As far as Baltimore goes, if it wasn't for Diane and the Baltimore crew, I wouldn't be here today. Now we have different leaders. Where's Barbara Berry, who's now our local president in Denver? And the surprise to me, I've been in Denver just for a few years. My rabbi shows up today. And thank you, Rabbi Chai. It's just amazing how people keep showing up and keep coming. The best thing you need to do is go to these meetings, listen to what's said. In your head, decide where you want to put your money. I know for me, I don't need another shmata. I got plenty of them. When you start thinking that way is when you learn to be philanthropic. I don't need another piece of jewelry. What for? So really, all of you, when you think about giving, give from here, not from here. Thank you.
What a tough act to follow.
We've been married 52 years.
And she's going to give me another 52. If I don't get it right by then, it's all over.
And in Baltimore, they said it would never last. We fooled them, didn't we?
Dear friends, thank you all for this high honor. JNF, I'm a proud member of, and it is more than my voice in Israel. It is my vehicle to get things done, not only for Israel, but for the world. It's an honor to serve. It's an honor to accept this award. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the video screens.
The story of Jewish National Fund, the story of the modern state of Israel, is about ordinary people achieving extraordinary accomplishments. It's the story of Theodor Herzl. You know, the guy with the beard. His struggle to gather enough people at the first Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland. He was only in his 30s, so you can really say he was our first JNF future member. He hosted the Zionist Congress at a casino hall and had everyone wear formal attire, tuxedos and suits that he had rented for them so that the Zionist movement would have a winning image, despite how poor so many of the attendees were. Because Herzl knew he needed to sell Zionism to the masses the same way we need to sell our dreams to people today. The talit that were put up on the walls as decorations would later become the flag of the State of Israel with our Star of David. Overnight, as the word of the First Zionist Congress spread, the Zionist movement grew. Today, because of us, JNF Future, college activists, teens, all of us, the movement continues. We are achieving extraordinary accomplishments. The story of Jewish National Fund is the story of May 14th, 1948. In the morning, the final draft of the Declaration of Israel's Independence was typed at the Jewish National Fund headquarters in Tel Aviv. And at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, Israel's founders gathered at Tel Aviv Museum of Art and heard David Ben-Gurion read the Declaration of Independence. And at that very moment, founded the State of Israel for the Jewish people everywhere. It may not be in the Bible, but it was truly a spiritual moment.
אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. היא מדינת ישראל.
Herzl and Ben-Gurion were ordinary people who were driven to take action, not just to be dreamers, but to be doers. At Jewish National Fund, we continue their spirit and take destiny in our own hands today, as we have every day since our founding in 1901. At Jewish National Fund, hundreds of thousands of ordinary people achieving extraordinary accomplishments. We have planted 260 million trees throughout Israel, built 250 water reservoirs. We made dozens of Israeli parks handicap accessible and helped hundreds of Israeli youth with special needs join the IDF, integrating them into Israeli society. We are focusing on the North and on the South with comprehensive plans that include housing and job creation, infrastructure development, and we have helped move millions of Israelis to the Negev and Galilee, which is 77% of the land of Israel. And we are preserving our history by investing in heritage sites in Israel that deal with Israel's independence experience and Zionist engagement here at home. We are creating tomorrow's leaders. We are educating our youth. We are instilling them the love of Israel. Across the United States and throughout Israel, we are working together to make an impact on Israel's land, on Israel's people, and on the Jewish nation. There are enough dreamers dreaming and planners planning. There are never enough doers doing, and just a few who are bringing it all together. Here in Florida, we gather together just as our predecessors did in Basel at the First Zionist Congress and in Tel Aviv at 4:30 that afternoon. We reaffirm our commitment to the land of Israel and the Jewish people. We celebrate you and all the people who join us, not just in ideas, but in action, because we are the doers. We are the doers. We are the doers. And before I go any further, I want to thank the people in my life that allow me to do what I do. So to Marcy and Allie who are here today, thank you very much. So what difference do we make? What difference do we make in people's lives? What can you do every day, everywhere, one person at a time? Let me share a few stories. In the north of Israel is a place called Emek HaShalom, an area made up of trails and natural beauty. There are paths that wind through the forest where you can stop and you can study the Jewish calendar. Go a little bit further, and you could visit the path of creation. Go further, and you could stop and look at a beautiful overlook and see the window to the horizon. For a person with a disability, this, and yet, because of the Gutman family and Jewish National Fund, they can. A young man, Uri Friedland, who is here today, a young man who is physically disabled, this is not a pathway. This is like unlocking the door to nature. That is the difference that is made in Uri's life. Just one person. He gets to enjoy nature every day. Now, there are thousands of others that get to enjoy, but don't think about them for a second. Just think about Uri. and the difference you made to just one person, Ori Freeland, every day. When you go up north, you can run into this very big, tall Israeli named Johnny Stern. Now, what difference did you make in his life? Just one person? Well, Jewish National Fund helped create a Chamber of Commerce, the Western Galilee now. Johnny is a winemaker, but before we got involved, he was almost a former winemaker. Today, thousands of barrels of Stern wine is sold throughout the land of Israel. That is because you provided a livelihood and jobs to so many, because you made a difference in Johnny's life, one person, because we did something greater than ourselves. You provided a livelihood, a job to many. Then I got the same slide here, so I got to go to the next slide. You make a difference every day. That is Jewish National Fund. When you go down south to Beersheba, look upon the promenade of 7 miles of river walk to a river soon to be to a 22-acre lake that will be completed in just months ahead. What difference did you make? You made a difference in the lives of Gabe Axler and Ravit Greenberg. They're two young children. They moved to Beersheba from Chicago, and they live in Beersheba today. They are enjoying what you have helped create. They are raising their families so that their children and your children and grandchildren can help build the Zionist connection that we are doing together today. We are strengthening, we are building. That happens every day, everywhere. To the children yet unborn, what we do today, we'll continue to build because of that, because of what you do. That is Jewish National Fund. Now, Ruby Russell is a student at our Alexander Muss High School in Israel, and she grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. She is 15 years old, and I just met her a couple weeks ago. Now, what was her big concern when I met her? It wasn't what she was going to be wearing. It wasn't even her studies. Her big concern was that her congregation was going to take out Israel as part of their Jewish education curriculum. Yes, Israel. The congregation felt it was just too controversial and divisive for their congregation. Wow. Ruby is at our campus in Israel. She's writing back and forth to her father in Boston, telling him to go to the meetings and answer the questions about why Israel is so important to us as a Jewish people everywhere. Ruby is 15 years old. She's at our Alexander Muss High School in Israel. You and I are making the difference in one person. We are making that difference every day. You and I are standing up for Israel through Ruby. She is a doer. And we're doing it with every Muss child that we send there. That is Jewish National Fund. It's the difference that you make to a new Oled, to a new immigrant in Israel who have moved there and you can see it in the life of Captain Libby Weiss. Now, she's only in her 20s, but she was invited to the Knesset to receive an award because she is making a difference. The Grossman family made that possible by funding the B'nai Zion Awards through Nefesh B'Nefesh. Libby traveled to the Philippines and Nepal with the IDF on life-saving missions. She is a lone soldier who is inspiring not just us, she's inspiring thousands of young people everywhere. Her actions will make a young person act to make a difference, to become a doer. That impact is in our hands. One person after another person, a generation, a people, a nation. Every day, every person, everywhere. That is Jewish National Fund. Sometimes it's simple. Sometimes it's complex. Sometimes it's just the person next to you in this room. or the college students that are here from college campuses across the United States, our JNF future. Yes, give them a hand. Our JNF future members, our board members, our major donors, everyone. Look into their eyes and let them look into yours. Look into each other's eyes tonight and tomorrow. Sometime, let them know what you are doing and hear what they are doing. Let's build together tomorrow, today. So what difference do we make? All the facts and figures and history is important, yet the difference is in one person at a time. It's every day, everywhere. That is Jewish National Fund. When you bring someone to a board meeting, when you invite someone to a JNF breakfast, when you make a solicitation, when you tell the Jewish National Fund story, have a parlor meeting, write an article and post on social media, and yes, when you make your own contribution to the 2018 campaign, you are changing the world every day. So I end this story about a boy and a wise old man. The wise old man seems to always have the answers. The boy was determined to prove the old man wrong, at least just once. So, sometimes we always want to be right, that we forget that learning and working together is the ultimate achievement. It is together that we'll make the difference, one person after another. So the boy captures a butterfly. He holds it in his hands, and he goes to the old man and asks, "If you were so wise, is this butterfly dead or is this butterfly alive?" The boy planned ahead. He said, "Well, if the old man says it is alive, I will crush it and kill it. If the old man says it is dead, I will then let it go. Either way, I will prove the old man wrong." But the old man looks into the young boy's eyes. The old man holds up his own hand. The butterfly flies away. And he says, "Destiny is in your hands."
Well, thank you, Russell. Very inspiring to all of us, as is everything else we've heard at this meeting today. My name is Ted Banks, and I'm a very proud member of Jewish National Fund's Century Council and Negev Society, and I also serve on the National Board as Vice Chair of the Audit Committee. First, I want to congratulate Toby and Mort for their remarkable dedication. You guys are both amazing. Before we close, I want to remind everyone that our dinner gala will begin back here in just over an hour at 6:30. We have a very special treat for us tonight as we honor the former president of Spain, Jose Maria Aznar, with the Shalom Peace Award, and we recognize some very special individuals who serve as the head of this great organization. See you back here in an hour.